Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Jae Encarnacion, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures and the challenges faced along the way. Today, we are thrilled to have Caroline Fitz-Roy, the CEO and founder of Fitz-Roy Associates. Caroline brings a wealth of experience in recruitment from Fortune 500 companies like Gap and Gentech to mission-driven organizations, and has built a firm that specializes in executive search and clinical recruitment for social enterprises and healthcare startups, particularly in mental health. Based in San Francisco, Fitz-Roy Associates, founded in 2010, is transforming how mission-driven organizations build their leadership teams. We'll be exploring her founding story, how her business empowers clients in the social impact space, and her vision for scaling this purpose-driven venture. So with that being said, let's dive right into it. Caroline, welcome to Founders Future.
Thanks, Jay. I love the introduction. Thank you.
Absolutely. And just an incredible background that you have. So honestly, a pleasure and an honor having you on the show today, Caroline. I know it's your first podcast as well. So an honor to be your first here. So if you could take us back to the beginning for our listeners and really walk us through what specific problem in the recruitment landscape, perhaps around finding mission-aligned leaders for social enterprises or the healthcare startups, what really inspired you to start Fitz-Roy Associates?
Yeah, so I started my career working for big companies. I was fortunate to work for the Gap in San Francisco and Charles Schwab and Genentech, but I spent the first 10 years there, but I felt like I wanted to do something more meaningful, like how can I impact people directly? So I quit my job at Charles Schwab, a company that I loved, and moved to New York City because I thought I wanted to become a teacher. Because I was really interested in health and wellness, especially for kids. So the through line was that's what I was going after, but I wasn't sure how to get there. So I went back to school, got my master's degree at NYU, and came back to California to work for a startup called Revolution Foods, founded by two women who met at Berkeley and were starting a company to bring healthy food to kids in schools who qualified for free lunch. So this was like the intersection of everything I wanted: health, food, and startup. I didn't really know I wanted to work at a startup at that time. I was with them for 7 years and then decided, and it was partially personal when I had my son, that I wanted to start my own business. And I wanted to specifically focus on purpose-driven businesses. Coming from Rev Foods, I started to work with nonprofits, and then I had the opportunity to do some work for One Medical, which is one of the companies that was purchased by Amazon last year. So 15 years ago, at the very beginning, the chief people officer said, "Would you come and help me? They want to transform healthcare and they want to recruit doctors." And I had no idea where that would lead. And that sort of led me on the path to also working for health tech companies. So that's how it started. It just was started by pursuing an idea and going after what I wanted.
I love it. And that's the beauty, right, of being a founder, is now you're doing what you're passionate about and providing that high quality to your client. So I would love to get into the nuts and bolts with you of what you're doing with Fitz-Roy Associates, especially for our listeners who, once this episode airs, could very well come up with you right after listening about what you're providing. So walk us through what you're doing now to generate revenue today. As far as the core offer, I know that you have the executive search for CEOs, the clinical recruitment for psychology, couple of those offers. So walk us through all of that core offering that you have, how it's structured for your clients and your ideal client that you like to work with.
Yes. So our target customers are early stage startups. So generally seed and Series A round startups. And this is where the founders have exhausted their network and need to go out and recruit a team. So we come in and we can help them in two ways. We can help to build their founding leadership team. So that is like a product person, an operations person, marketing, people, And then typically our clients, because we're working with many founders who are offering care delivery, which is mental health services, it's physician services. We've started to get into prevention medicine, which is really hot. I just think that's the new wave for clinical. So we will help to hire providers, which are nurses, physicians, therapists. And my team happens to have a lot of experience in this area as I have. And I think what's unique is that we have really maintained an executive search sort of model for clinical recruiting too, because it takes a very specific kind of provider to go and work for a startup. It's an uncommon path. So I think it takes an uncommon approach to recruiting those too. So I would say it's our target customer. We can offer like the business side of the house and the clinical and fulfill both of those. And then we do have some clients, like I have one now who they have succeeded and they're raised a Series D, and we're now helping them to hire their chief product officer, their chief customer officer. So that's the ideal, that we stay with them for the long term.
Amazing. Absolutely incredible. So with that, I would love for you to talk us through your mindset, being the founder, Caroline, of scaling this type of productization around it. How are you approaching that, and how are you planning on scaling this to that next level?
Yeah, so I think it's a very competitive space,
Yeah.
and there are a lot of recruiters who serve early stage startups. And I think everyone's saying, what's going to happen to recruiting with AI?
Right.
And my philosophy has been that it's been like deep investment in your relationships. So that's with candidates and with clients. So I think in terms of scaling this business, something that's changed during COVID is that recruiting clinical providers became very popular. So doctors, nurses, therapists now have multiple paths. They can work virtually, they can consult. Like it used to be you're working in a hospital or in a private practice.
Right.
So I think we need to change and evolve how we're recruiting providers, because they have a lot of choice, and I think they can have a portfolio of work that they do. So one of the things that we're doing is consulting with founders about that, and how do we change the model of what we're asking them to do and making their work more flexible. I think that's number one, because they have a lot of choice. I think on the executive search side, we're moving into forming vetted communities, because I think also what has become very crowded is sending email campaigns and text messages. People are inundated with information. I would say our theme is going deep with people versus wide, because I don't think you can be successful as a recruiter using like just these mass outreach approaches anymore.
Absolutely. And I think that's the biggest factor, is knowing, okay, here's where I need to focus. And this is where I'm really going to be able to make the biggest effect. So let's sit here and really provide as high quality service as we can. So with that, are you running the show here, Caroline, as a solopreneur, or do you now have a team behind you, sales, marketing, assistants? And what does that look like as far as the sales process and team?
Yep. So I have a team of recruiters. So I have two people who are full time. I have a consulting team of four recruiters that we bring in for certain projects, who also have experience in the health tech space. And then I do have a coordinator that we use as well. That's something else we're shifting, is we're really working on using AI or using assistants to take care of like the administrative work for recruiting. So that is like in the process of changing. I don't think I found the solution yet.
Yeah.
Yes. There are a lot of tools, so it takes just testing them and trying them. But I would say the core team is three, and then we have a team of about five that we bring in for different projects when we need it.
Amazing. Amazing. I love that. So as far as the actual acquisition process, I would definitely love to hear a bit more, especially as you said that the market is such a busy market. It's very crowded. What are you doing on that front? And where are you seeing success for leads coming in, being qualified on that front? And do you have a predictable system that you can pull a lever and know you're going to get leads in? What does that look like? Walk us through those channels.
Yeah, I would say two things. One is I spend a lot of time cultivating warm leads. So my network, because I've been doing this now for over 10 years, like I have a pretty deep network. So it's takes time. I think the warm cultivation really helps. We do ask our clients for referrals. We do get a lot of referral business. Everyone knows you can't count on that for predictable income. And then three is we do cold outreach. So I think, for example, we've moved into this prevention medicine space and we're getting traction there. And there are a lot of new companies like emerging there. So we use any kind of new business that we're taking on, we'll leverage that for cold outreach. But a lot of it's me. Like I haven't hired an outside salesperson yet, or a lead generator. And this is, I think, for other people, not something that I recommend. I think because it's such a relation driven business, I've been concerned about having just a BDR person like working on this. And I think founders are particularly concerned about who's in the network, who do you know? So they're not as, I don't think, as responsive to cold outreach just from anyone.
Exactly, which makes a lot of sense, obviously, and definitely looking at it the right way. But from looking at it on that lens and wanting that scale and that growth, is that what you're looking into now? Is maybe having that
Yes.
predictability around more lead generation and then bringing on more of a sales team, really some big A players that you can trust to handle these types of conversations. That sounds like the next step in the process to take you to that scale level.
It is. It is for sure. And then the other thing that we're working on is content. So, how can we provide? I think one of the areas that's really misunderstood in clinical recruiting is the process and the number of doctors, because you can look at New York State has 50,000 doctors, but what is your total recruitable market? So providing founders with tools. So that's another area of revenue that we're looking at. And then also sharing what we found, like AI tools that work for clinical recruiting. So we are working on that as well. So my plan over the next, for the remainder of this year and then for the next 5 years is to increase my team size and continue to be niche in this specific area. One, because it's something that we love. And I think what I've learned is that it takes time. Like when you enter a market, like I think very early days, I was just building my network. And now I think, not that it's easy, but we can more easily tap a few people and bring up a really strong slate of candidates, which is what founders want. But it takes time.
It does. It does. And I think that for our listeners is the most important lesson, right? Is even when you're in seat and really getting after it, it really still does take time, trust the process, put the right pieces into place, build the system, and the growth will come, the success will come. Just incredible being able to have you on, walking us through that and your mindset and your process on that. You took the words out of my mouth on as far as your vision, right? I wanted to say, hey, where are you taking it? You just answered
Yeah.
for me there. And of course, we did touch on the bottlenecks as well, right? That predictability. You want that predictability on the lead gen side. You want to start building out your sales team and have some marketing help and really being able to get the machine fully going because the value you could provide. You have the quality there. Your go to market. You're focused on a niche now. It's really just continuing to build. So with that there, I definitely would love for you to walk us through a bit of as far as your mindset and mentality for the industry as a whole, the recruitment industry as a whole. Where do you see the evolution of the industry coming in the coming years, especially in healthcare and social impact? And what are you doing to really position yourself on the forefront of that evolution there, Caroline?
I, I, the industry will definitely change. I don't think that AI is going to replace recruiting. There are a lot of people who will ask us, can we just do our interviews like over video and can we send an agent? And my thought is that people are human beings and they want connection. Like, I think what people resonate most is that I have connecting people with purpose on my profile.
Yes.
And we just closed a very senior executive for an AI startup. And what he cared about most was the relationship with the founder and could he trust the founder? And what did he think about the team? Did they have integrity? So I think in recruiting, you have to still invest in people and invest in these relationships. And I see like that the world is moving, like online dating now is moving into in person. Online fitness is now people are seeking in person. So I think in some ways we're going to go back to some things that we don't do anymore in recruiting, like client visits and client lunches and going to conferences. Like, I think the people who are going to succeed are the people who invest in relationship, like in the in person. Like we're seeing that shift in all these other industries. So that is my plan to like, it takes more time, but I think it makes a difference for people.
Yeah, and I think that's such a big factor, right? Is as you're mentioning, people are really starting to look at how much technology and AI is really taking over, and they're like, hold on a second, we want that human touch, that human,
Mm,
that personalization that you can't get with technology. You can't get over a screen so much. Definitely makes a lot of sense, especially in your industry where it is so important to create that connection and build that trust and have that human factor to it. Amazing. That's the approach that you will be taking and really is going to make the biggest difference there. So, with that, I would love to take us into the lightning round here for our listeners.
yep.
Caroline, before we wrap up the show, and on this front, I would love to hear from you about a tool or a resource that you're utilizing, whether it's a recruitment strategy or a networking
Hmm.
tactic or an AI tool that you're utilizing that's really streamlining the process for you. What's been the biggest game changer for Fitz-Roy and Associates this far?
The tool I would recommend, and I would say, as much as I'm emphasizing human factor, I absolutely utilize all the AI tools to get your administrative work done because recruiting is a heavily administrative like type of work. So Ashby is the tool that we're using for our CRM, for our email campaigns. There's another tool we use also called Seek Out that is pretty early still, but I think the founders have really like the data that they've collected is incredible. So I think it's a little hard to use right now, but they have a lot of capacity for making recruiters' lives easy. So I think Seek Out. There's another company called EQ
Okay.
that has built an assistant. So I would say those three, EQ, Seek Out, and Ashby, is what we're using. And I have to say, number four, there's another one called Ellie that records our phone calls and summarizes the notes. So we're working with that founder as well. I think over time, all of these tools will merge. But right now, like we're using four different tools for notes, for our CRM, for campaigns, and another one for phone calls. But those are the four.
I love it. I love it. And
Yeah.
technology, beautiful thing. It makes our life so much
Mhm.
easier. So with that, I just have one more question for you here, Caroline. And that is going to be as far as advice. What type of advice can you offer to our listeners tuning in right now? Just heard your
Mhm.
incredible journey. You are super inspiring. So I know you're going to have something good here. What can you leave them with
Okay.
before you wrap up the show?
So, advice that I always give to job seekers, because I know there are a lot of job seekers, or not even job seeker, just figuring out if you're not satisfied with the direction. I found success by directly contacting the person or the company that I was interested in. And I give that advice to people all the time. CEOs love to be contacted. They take it as a sign of like confidence and that you know where you want to go, you know what you want, and you will get a positive response. So rather than applying or go after what inspires you and interests you and contact that CEO. That's like how I connected the dots into everything that I've wanted to do. And I think people, it's rare, so people respond to it positively.
I love it. I absolutely love that. With that right there, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap up another inspiring episode of Founders Future. And Caroline, I truly cannot thank you enough. Your first podcast, and it was an incredible
Yes.
conversation. So truly appreciate you coming on and sharing your journey and your insights with myself and the listeners. Again, your energy is beautiful. Your drive, your charisma, everything you're doing is clear as day why you're seeing success and why you will continue to achieve new heights. And definitely would love to have you back on, do another
All
episode,
right.
get some good
All right.
updates. I know there will.
Okay. So
Truly.
nice to meet you. You were wonderful. You made it easy. So
Thank you so much. I
thank
do
you.
appreciate that. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, which I know so many of you have, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And also don't forget to check out Fitz-Roy and Associates at fitzroyassociates.com to learn more about their recruitment services. And also you can check us out here at closers.io, where we are dedicated to helping businesses accelerate their growth through trained appointment setters and world-class marketing systems. And until then, keep climbing, and we will see you on the next one.